Okay, I am continuing my reading of the standard works, and this is what I'm doing. In this series, I will be reading the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This will consist of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading this in chronological order according to events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be jumping around a bit within each of the standard works. I am currently reading in Genesis, and when I'm reading in the Bible, I will include portions of what is known as the Joseph Smith translation. This is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible in which Joseph Smith restored those portions that had been lost over time. In this video, I will begin in chapter 32 of Genesis. So, chapter 32. Jacob sees angels. He asks God to preserve him from Esau, for whom he prepares presents. He wrestles all night with a messenger of God. Jacob's name is changed to Israel. He sees God face to face. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. Pause here. The word host, alternate Hebrew translation is camp. So it says the angels of God met him. This might be like the three holy men that visited Abraham. We don't know. It's just very unclear here. Anyways, verse 3. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants, women servants, and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight. So he remembers how Esau hated him and was wanting to kill him. So he's sending some messengers up ahead, some servants, to kind of test the waters, see how things are going. Verse 6. The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels into 2 bands, and said, If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. So he's making plans for being attacked by his brother. And remember, like everybody else in these stories, Esau had his own possessions, his own people, his own tribe. He was the people of Edom. So these 400 men that are coming with him, these aren't necessarily just friends and acquaintances. These are probably warriors of his own house. We continue. Verse 9. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidst unto me, Return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all thy mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast shewed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So he's praying for protection. Verse 13, And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 lambs, 30 milch camels, and their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, Whose art thou, and whither goest thou, and whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, These be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. Okay, so he's got all these presents. 200 goats, 200 sheep, 200 goats with the 20 male, 200 ewe lambs, and 20 rams, and the camels, 40 kine. This is the word that means cows in the Bible. Cattle just means herds. Kine refers to cows. Sets all this up, and this he has, okay, the first row, goats go in front. When you meet, say, hey, we're of the Jacob, and we got a present for Esau. Then a little while later, they'll come up to the sheep with the same message. Then a little while, then the camels with the same message. Then the cows with the same message. Then the asses with the same message. So Jacob is setting up these gifts to slowly butter up his brother. Verse 20. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. So he's separating himself from his family. He wants to protect his family. Verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Okay, this is an odd story, quite honestly. I've never quite understood what's going on here. It says he wrestled, but that's more likely a wrestle of words. He prayed hard, he argued, he debated. The whole touching him in the hollow of his thigh and his thigh being out of joint, I don't get. I honestly have no idea what this really means, whether it's symbolic or not. But Jacob doesn't want the guy to go until he is blessed. So let us read Jacob's blessing. Verse 27. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. So again, I'm not quite sure what this all means. A couple of things. Peniel, in verse 30, he called the place Peniel. That means the face of God. Then he says he passed over Penuel. Penuel says it is a variant of Peniel. So why we got the 2 different names there, I don't know. They're both apparently Hebrew. So now, of course, his name is changed. Jacob meant deceiver or deception. He's changed his name to Israel, which means God preserves or God raises up. Or possibly let God prevail, as has become a famous mantra in the church in recent years. So Jacob's name is now changed to Israel, and he is awaiting the coming of his brother Esau. And we will pick that up in the next chapter.